So I'm actually a little bit shocked, a bit upset, but also sad. And alright, for those of you that don't know, Jay Briscoe, one half of the Briscoe brothers, tag team partner with his brother Mark, they were a phenomenal tag team. They were awesome. They were amazing. I actually put them on the top tier. I don't care about that whole observer ranks and all that other stuff because I just look at that as opinionated, you know, professional people that feel like their words is top shit, whatever. But I'm not saying. Regardless. To me, I feel like the Briscoe brothers were one of the top tier tag teams in the world of wrestling, hands down. And FTR as well. There's a lot of top people I can name, whatever. But that just the thing is, they're infamous in Ring of Honor, and they did other shows and wrestling organizations, but they are mostly synonymous with Ring of Honor. And Jay Briscoe is, as well as his brother Mark, the Briscoe in general. Not only did they make me feel proud to be a wrestling fan, but they also motivated me to be a part of the world of wrestling. Like, I want to have a career in wrestling. Like, that's something I want to portray. And that's why if you watch my hello video, that's me being a wrestling manager. That's my, I don't like the word character. That's just me, my person, one of my personality elevated higher and presentable. But I see myself more of a wrestling manager. And I don't want to get into details about that, but I it's gonna sound extremely selfish, but I wanted to do something where it's like I either I have some form of program or some storyline with the Briscoes, whether I was against them or one a representation of, well, like a wrestling manager for them, either against them or with them. And I just love the fact they were so real, like not only in their promo but in their personality, their presence, and everything. And I'm just, to all the friends and family, sorry, and my condolences. Just this really sucks because, like I said, that was my motivation. I'm not gonna stop because he's gone, but I just wish that I made it to that point where I did something with them. And again, it sounds selfish, but that's just me, just like have some sort of interaction where I'm like, thank you, like, I mean that's another thing. Thank you, like seriously, thank you. It sounds stupid because you're gone, and but I was holding this in to say thank you. It's just and not gonna get the chance. I can definitely say thank you to Mark Briscoe and all your family members for and the motivation and everything to be supportive and stuff. But I just, like I said, as a wrestling fan, thank you. But also as you know, giving me that fire, that motivation to involve myself in the wrestling, be part of this wrestling business and this journey. Thank you. Like I said, it sounds selfish, but I wish it was, like not sooner. Like I said, I'm more into wrestling manager spectrum. Um, Another thing I want to get into about those stupid tweets that he put out like 1,000 years ago. I'm exaggerating, but it was so long ago. I hate the fact that people even brought it up. What was it? Last year or 2 years ago, and it was just like it was stupid because nobody's perfect. But at the same time, I looked at that as a knee-jerk reaction that Jay Briscoe had. I mean, I'm going to use this example about me. When I was younger, a little kid, because of the society I was living, and also people I was surrounded by, they made, if you're not, I mean, obviously, as you can see, I'm black, I'm straight, but they made the sexuality of gay seem demonized. Like, it's the worst thing ever. To the point where it's like, I was like, in a way, homophobic. Not, just like the knee jerk reaction, like, oh, that's, gay is bad. Or, also, I'm a little kid. Cooties, like, seriously, girls have cooties. I mean, that type of age frame. But it was so engraved in me because of, what other people say. People I thought that were really knew how society works. People that I was like, oh, this is serious. But then eventually, one of my early job when I got into the world of working, making my own money, I was I was working with people of the opposite gender as mine, and it didn't bother me. When I found when I used to be a cart boy for a store facility called Ames, and it was long ago. I don't know if they still produce. That company probably should be gone, or anything. But I was just a cart boy, and the other cart boy was this. I forgot his name, but he was cool as hell, chill. And you know, I at the time I didn't drive. I didn't know how to drive. I knew how to drive, but I didn't have the license to get a driver's license. I was too young to get a driver's license, and he also had a roommate who worked in the same store, but he was one of the higher up in the office. But they were, in my mind, I was like, oh, they're roommates because they would always hitch a ride together to go to their place of living. I didn't think nothing of it. I was a young kid. I was starting out in this world of working, and every now and then they'll be like, hey, you need a ride home. They always drop me off at the end of the street because I was literally in the same route as where they're going home. So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And they were cool. And then one day, I don't know why it didn't dawn. I didn't see it. They were like two real cool dudes. They were chill. They were professional and everything. And we were in the car. It's like they were just. It was like a weight lifted off, and them like, yo, blah blah blah. And it was like we would conversate about comics, games, wrestling or any other sports, and it was kind of cool. It was like that cool ride. One day, they were dropping me off to go home. It was a long shift that day, so we were all like kind of exhausted. I'm sitting in the back seat like usual, and at this point, I was just looking out the window because I was just like I said, I was tired. I was kind of, I wasn't, I wouldn't say I was sleeping, but I probably was so tired where I was drowsy, like I'm going in and out of sleep or something. But I know I was wide awake. I was looking out the window, chilling, and I didn't want to be rude, just being dead quiet, cause these guys they cool as hell. They we're workers, we're co-workers and everything. Even though one's higher than both of us, but everything was real cool. I'm just like sitting there, looking out the window. And I was like, you know what? I'm being quiet. I gotta say something, whatever. So I turned my head to say something. And that's when I saw both of them kissing. And it threw me off, yes. And I think they probably thought I fell asleep. Because, like I said, I'm just like, whatever. I mean, it wasn't like a long, like, tongue in cheek kiss. It was like, they obviously, like, anybody in a relationship, they would kiss. It wasn't like they're gonna, oh, we're gonna get some later type of kiss. It was just like, whatever. And one of them noticed that I was like, and you're like, oh shit, and you're like, oh no, we're sorry, blah blah blah. And they were so apologetic and everything, and I was just like I didn't that I never, for all the years I've been told about how, oh, everything's good in life, but don't be gay. yeah, you gotta deal with racism and stuff like that, but hey, don't be gay. You know, it's like, no matter how it's worded. And this was my first interaction with it. Like, you know, and I was just like, so they dropped me off and I went home. And, you know, I was working part time, so I didn't work there every day. Finally, the next day I went back, everything was like dead quiet. Like, I didn't say anything to either of them, and they didn't say anything to me, because it was weird. It was like that weird phase. It was just whatever. And finally, the dude that did car attendant with me noticed, hey, we're about to get off, and he was like, look, I understand if you don't need a ride or if you want to walk home. And then out, but at that moment, because of those days off, like I said, I was working part time, it made me think. I was like, oh no, I saw two gay dudes kissing. Do that mean I'm gay? Oh, am I gonna look at dicks now? You know, it's just, sorry for that. I mean, am I gonna look at the male gender? I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I'm just, you know, elaborating my story. There's a point to this. But those few days off, I realized I was still the same person. Nothing was different. And the next time I did work with them, and like I said, one finally broke the ice. Like, hey, if you need a lift, and I was like, yeah, sure. And you like, what? Wait, what? And I was like, yeah. So we rode again, and again, still apologetic about that day. But I was just like, so y'all two kids, big whoop. And that's when I knew, you know, from there, it wasn't much of a all the stuff about how people say about, you know, gay or lesbian and everything. And from that job, I've worked all the other jobs, obviously, and I worked with a lot of different walks of life, and I'm happy I had those interactions. And I can honestly say, seeing from Jay Briscoe's point of view, he had a knee jerk reaction. Same scenario as mine, except mine was different. I was more in a shock and I didn't know what to say. I didn't demonize him at that moment. I was just like, but for Jay Briscoe's point of view, I can picture it as he probably was given all these information, and the way they word it and the way they, you know, how his mind tried to translate and process it, he just tweeted something out of a knee-jerk reaction, but in reality, who he is as a person is opposite of what, you know, it's like, it's opposite of what he meant, what he was saying in that tweet. In that tweet, it was a knee-jerk reaction, but I honestly believe that's all it was. It wasn't any, he didn't really have like an in-depth view, like an in-depth, what's the word I'm looking for? An in-depth experience, or an in-depth, I don't want to say research, because how do you research something like that, but an in-depth experience, an in-depth, you know, just, I really don't know what the word, it's just an interaction, I guess, you know, to really see the information, you know, that he was given. There wasn't anything there for him to challenge that information, so he just knee jerk, and he been apologizing about that tweet a long ass time ago. Drop that, just drop it. I was about to swear, but like I said, I'm trying to be. It just stupid. It was stupid. It was a knee jerk reaction. He tweeted it. He put it up. He took it down. But the fact that people memorize that joint to demonize somebody years after the fact, after he already proven, you know, he's not that way. It was just a knee jerk reaction, you know, just somebody's fed him information, and probably how they worded it really integrated to what, you know, like enraged him or whatever. Like, certain words can trigger people. People don't realize that. There's this thing called word psychology. And I don't want to get too deep into that, but regardless, he is not that way. And he proven it through the years afterwards. He done a lot of great positive things, but people want to hold on to that one. Just drop it. Just, it's stupid. I mean, if that's you holding, you know, a grudge over that, then you're more closed-minded than you claim you're not. However, but that's the whole point of it. It's just I just like I said. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself and I'm sounding selfish, but I just wish I had that experience, that interaction, that something, not just inside the ring, but even outside. Like I want to dive in and learn, and it's just, and that's why it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My younger days when I wanted to pursue wrestling, I wanted to be a wrestler, but I found myself more intrigued to be a wrestling manager. And the Briscoes, you guys lit a fire like you don't understand. That made me go, you know what? I'm gonna do it again. My video my hello video. I mean, you've probably seen videos earlier before where I'm just messing around trying to find who I am, like that, my person in the world of wrestling. And then I finally just said, screw it, be myself. Because that's one of the things that I love about the Briscoe. They were being themselves, except they elevated that joint. And that's what made me go, you know what? Stop trying. Just do what you do best and be yourself, except elevate it. So, if you guys are curious about that video, it's hello, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is I just want to honestly say to both the Briscoes, and it's it just sucks. I'm just so it sucks. But to everybody that worked in the wrestling business, whether televised or not, I want to take the opportunity to say thank all of you. Thank you as a wrestling fan and also as somebody that want to jump full body into this wrestling business. I want to thank all of y'all for giving me that motivation, especially to the Briscoe, because you guys are one of the main sources that made me want to do this. Thank you. And to all the friends and family of Jay Briscoe, I'm sorry. Sorry.